Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Yes, we made it to another Wednesday, and Pam Forrester joins me to answer your great listener questions. Today, we get a question about the top things to do in 2025 for those upcoming Walt Disney World vacations. So we turn into Stacey Aswad and give you some tips there. We also talk about how much or little Hoop-de-Doo Revue over at Fort Wilderness has changed over the years. We discuss the temperatures of the water at Castaway Key in the wintertime, December and January, and if you can still swim out there, and how a vacation at Disney's Polynesian Resort in May or may not be affected by the cheerleaders. This and much more is coming your way on today's show. Don't forget, our podcast is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click supports everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You guys are our all-stars. You make this show happen. So a huge thank you to each and every one of you. If you'd like to support us, it's just $5 a month. It's like a cup of coffee a month. And you get a bonus show every week. It's called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/Be Our Guest Podcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2553 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week. We sure are around these parts. It's almost fall here in the Midwest and the weather has been beautiful. I do want to say, be safe down there in the Gulf in Louisiana. I know there is a hurricane brewing this week down that way, and we have lots of friends down in Louisiana, southern Alabama, Mississippi, and we are thinking of you. So hang in there and batten down the hatches and stay safe. We know that you guys all know how to hang in there with those storms, but we are thinking of you here on the show, and just, do what you do. You guys always survive those hurricanes, but we are thinking of you, and we'll just keep carrying on here and keeping the shows coming. So get those generators genning and get the gumbo stocked up and ride it out and get that storm out of the way. So today we're going to be answering your listener questions. Shocker. It's a Wednesday. That's what we do here on the show so that you can, I don't know. It's just what we do. So we can just get the week cruising right on towards Friday, right? That's how we do things here on the show. So joining me today to have some fun, we have the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, my friend, your friend, everybody's friend, Pam Forrester. Pam, happy Wednesday. What's up?
Happy Wednesday. I'm really excited to do the show again today. I don't know why. I'm excited every time that we get the opportunity to do this, but it's just been one of those the last couple of weeks where I'm like, this is I'm settling back into the fall routine, right? I'm at home for a while. This is nice. So I'm glad we get to talk to some of our friends and answer some questions. Well, talk via podcasting. We get to talk. They get to listen to us. So.
It is cool. And by the way, I had a listener come up and say hello. We got selfies and we did the two-way selfie, right? He took a selfie with his phone. Then I took a selfie with my phone, but I brought my daughter, Mallory, not scalp tickets, but tickets off of StubHub because the game was sold out, and her friend who had never been to a Mizzou game this past Saturday night when we played Buffalo. But we got to meet each other briefly. He came down, swooped down. Mike, love the show. Got a picture. Didn't get his name. So please let me know. Hit me up on the social media at BeOurGuestMike. Let me know so I can tag you because I put the picture on social media. I was looking for Mallory because we had lost her at that point because she had seats in 5 sections over, and we had lost contact with her. My phone didn't work once I got into the stadium because AT&T has terrible service at Mizzou. She's grown up in the stadium literally since she was less than a year old. We've always taken her. We had season tickets on the Hill back in the day, but couldn't find her. So it was like the blind leading the blind. Her and her friend who had never been to Mizzou ever, her friend, she was first time giving her a real ticket, trying to find a real section and a real seat. We had no idea where they went. They were gone for like, they were only supposed to be 3 sections over, totally gone. So I totally apologize. I was totally distracted because I thought these two 16-year-old girls were just missing in action. My wife's like, where are they? Where are they? I was like, they're in the stadium somewhere, because if they leave, there's a no return policy. And I'm not leaving because I want to see this game. Like, we drove 2.5 hours.
They're on their own.
Sat in traffic on I-70. We're seeing this game. I mean, if they left, they're just sitting out in the parking lot until 9. You know, like, I'm watching this game. I want to see Brady cook, and I want to see Luther score some TDs. So we're whatever. But yeah, I was very distracted. So I apologize for that. So give me a shout out on the social media. And thanks for saying hello. But yeah, so let me ask you this, though. So it is fall. Do you have the, is it too early? Because Disney's had the Halloween decorations up for probably, you know, a month or so at this point. But are we close enough? Because I want to put some up here on the shelf. I got the Halloween, you know, buckets from back in the day, the Halloween things. Next week, maybe? Are we close enough to put up Halloween decks?
Mine went up Labor Day weekend.
Holy smokes. Oh, my God.
I'm a little early because I like to put Christmas stuff up as soon as Halloween's over, because I like it up for a good long time. For those of you who've been listening for a long time, you know. For those of you who haven't, hello, I'm Pam. I love Christmas, and I have about 13 trees that I put up in my house. I need like, do you know, like when you're watching a reel or an Instagram person and they're like, they launch into their whole, this episode, yes, we're going to be talking about this. And then like 10 seconds in, they all say it. Hi, my name's Pam. I love Christmas, and I have 13 Christmas trees. Let's talk about how I'm going to decorate this year.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, I do. Actually, I just like to decorate, period. Like, I like that. Like, you know, it's like a change. It's a ushering in of something. So, yeah, I like it.
Okay, cool. Then I'm getting the buckets out because you're sitting right in front of the treadmill. I see them every day, and I'm like, one more week. I'll wait. Well, because I hang the little marathon ears on top. So.
And
yes.
The ones this year I saw from McDonald's are not as cute.
Oh, they have them again? I didn't even know they had them again. I have like
I saw the faces of them. I do not like them. Like, I like the classic.
Yeah, mine are classic. They look like the ones from the 80s. Yeah, they're the old ones.
The ones this year do not. At least
like
the ones
McBoo
that I saw.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to check them out though, because I love those little suckers. But yeah. Okay. So they'll be back for next week. So again, we have a YouTube channel. We never push this. We have like 1,700 subscribers. We love that. But come subscribe. I mean, check us out. Again, you don't probably want to see me. You probably want to see Pam, but it's youtube.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. But anyway, let's get to the questions. First question of the day. Let's go to Jen. What do you think of the must-dos for 2025 at Walt Disney World? So looking into next year's must-dos, I feel kind of Stacy-ish. Must-do.
Right. The must-dos.
The must-dos. We're going to turn this into a list of 77 things.
Right. And we'll have videos to go
Amarette's Patisserie, but then also go to Deluxe Burger, then go to Uniqlo. We're going to show you everything at Disney Springs, and all is going to count as one. Pretzel und beer. No, what do you think is like, I mean, because I'm trying to think. I mean, I would say maybe this is the first time that you do check out a water park, because that's the opportunity with your free admission to get over there. And, you know, because if you're only spending a couple hours, who cares? It's house money for the first time ever. You know, maybe that's an opportunity.
There's no charge. There's no extra charge for this. It's on the first day with Walt Disney World stays now. With the first day, when you get there, you'll be able to go to a water park. So that will be kind of a cool thing. I agree. I think that'll be interesting. And for those of you who don't know, the water parks actually have some cabanas that you can rent, some, you know, preferred chairs. And I think a good day at a water park in a cabana doesn't sound like a bad day, really. I mean, sounds like a good day.
Well, see, I think it changes over the years, right? When we first started going to Walt Disney World, a good day at a water park was like you had to accomplish Summit Plummet. You had to do... And then, you know, that was at Blizzard Beach. But if you're at Typhoon Lagoon, you had to do the Crush and Gusher. And you had to do all three of the slides. Like you had to do the Pineapple Crusher, I don't know what they were all called. I can't remember. But you had to do all three because they were slightly different. You know, they're all the same. And then you had to do the straight slide. And then at Blizzard Beach, again, you had to do like the racers. And then you had to do back over Typhoon, the one that had like 12 people on the big raft. And it's super long. You had to do all that stuff. Now, I'm with you, dude. Cabana. Give me a margarita, or
Margarita?
some of those
Drink.
those little donut
Lazy
holes.
River,
Donut
maybe,
holes.
for a little bit.
Yeah, donut holes. I'm in. Dude, that's all I need.
Donut hole with dipping sauce.
Score. Maybe the Lazy River. If I want to get adventurous, Lazy River to the next stop. That's it.
That's right. Yes. If only you could take your drink with you.
Yes, exactly. They need a adult Lazy River.
Right?
No kids.
Super lazy.
Yeah, 18 and over only. And turn those
know.
dang sprayers off that are like 12 degrees. You know,
Right.
the one thing hit me one time. I think it almost stopped my heart for like 30 seconds. It was so cold. I'm like, they trying to like, like I got thin skin. Like, we trying to put me in cardiac arrest here. What's going on?
I know. I know. Agreed. There are things that are going to be changing. And if you have not seen that front Epcot area, I think that's definitely something that you're going to want to see. And for me, I really like seeing it at night. And let's just hope that the beacons of light on Spaceship Earth never goes away.
Exactly.
Never.
Best upgrade ever. Best upgrade
Right?
ever. Yeah.
And it's still, I think, because it's like, I'm almost, every time I see it, I'm almost holding my breath that like I don't hear that it's going to go away, right? Because it's such a really cool thing. So I would really make a point to see that. And the fact that Tron now, you're not going to have to get in the virtual queue. You can wait in line for it, I think is interesting too.
Yeah. So how do you, real quick, because, well, real quick, Kelly says the only bad thing about a water park in the first day is going to destroy her hair that I always get. And I think she means done for vacation. Because, right, I mean, we always get our dues for the trip. I mean, even though I don't have much hair, I always do save it for, I go to Great Clips right before. I mean, I spend my, my $12.50 to go get my haircut.
Wow.
I get the vacation due. I don't even tell Pam. I tell Pam, don't tell me what you spend to get your haircut or get your hair done for vacation, because I do not want to. That's the thing. If when you are the husband and the dad of you're a husband and you got two daughters. My biggest thing is I never want to know what that homecoming dress cost. They drove all the way to Columbia, where Mizzou is, 2.5 hours to get a homecoming dress because they can't have the same dress of anybody at the school. They went to a bridal shop. So I'm like, and then they'd get it like, what's it called? Like altered or whatever. I'm like, yeah. I want to know. Like, I do not want to see a bill sit on the kitchen table. I don't want to. Don't tell me. I don't even want. I just want to think that it costs $50. Like, just let me. Ignorance is bliss in this house, and I'm just gonna think it's a $50 dress. I don't want to. Don't do. If you spill the beans, somebody's gonna pay. Like, because I guarantee you, they took my credit card to pay for that sucker. I just don't look at the statement. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. So yeah, that's the whole thing. So yeah, you don't want to destroy your hair, but I mean, is it not going to get wet on the Tiana's? I mean, you get a little side shot or something.
Yeah, the last time I rode Tiana's, I got soaked. Like the whole right side of me was soaked. Kelly, you know what? Then maybe you do want to look into that cabana rental, because
Lazy River.
You don't have to get your hair wet at all.
With a Lazy River, it's all over. Yeah, I know. So real quick though, Tron moved over to a standby line.
Standby.
Is it want or is it hallelujah? I like it. I'm all about standby lines. I'm old school. Like, I think it gives you more control. I don't know.
I think it does too, and I think it's like you can make your choice. It's not like anyone's shut out. Like, you can make your choice. Do you want to wait in that line or do you not want to wait in that line? It's totally up to you. And I like that. And if you really don't want to wait in the line, then you can pay for the individual one. So that's something that you can do too. But yeah, I mean, lots of good stuff.
Well, we saw today. I mean, I looked and, initially right at park opening, it was about a 100-minute wait. And then within an hour, it was down to 40 minutes. And later in the day, with Space Mountain closed, mind you, next to it, Space Mountain was down. It was a 35-minute wait. So, it's like nature's healing. Like it's just the way of things. People are spreading out. That's just how it is.
It is. And I think in the beginning, you have to have it as a virtual queue because, I mean, we all saw the pictures when certain attractions opened up and there were like this attraction opened up and Disney made us wait in a 3-hour or 4-hour, 5-hour line. So they want to eliminate that when possible whenever an attraction opens. But eventually now, as they say, the market corrects itself, and here we are. We're at that spot. So I think that that's going to be that's going to be good for a lot of people. And I think there's just, I can't wait. We had such great announcements at D23 this year, right? I can't wait till we start seeing some progress being made on these. And we know. By the way, Mike, we didn't even talk about in 2025. What has to be open at that point is the cake shop.
I've given up on that, dude. It's gone. It's imaginary. It is not happening. I'm just like, the boardwalk ends at the ice cream shop.
That's where it is. They
That's
should
it.
just put up a little something.
That's
there.
it, dude. It's a scrim after that. It's just a scrim.
Yes, it should be.
It's a scrim with like a big cupola. It's a gigantic imaginary gazebo.
I like this. This is a good idea.
Possibly a wedding venue. I don't know. Like for private events.
It could be mysterious. They should make it something myserious. Like
it's the Adventurers Club Part 2. Yes.
There.
It's it's not real.
I know, but that should be open.
Yeah. Dream on. Who sang that song? Aerosmith. Dream on. No, let them eat cake.
Too funny.
Yeah, right. You're not eating cake there. Did we talk about that on Friday? Last Friday? I think we did. Maybe no.
I don't know. We're dragging the cake shop at this point.
We are. Dude,
it deserves
they
it.
brought it on. That's what I was gonna say. Dude, if they'd have built the thing in 2022 like they're supposed to, we wouldn't have had to. All right, Kelly's got a question over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Mike and Pam, we're considering booking the Disney Destiny. That's what I've been doing all day. For December of 2025, but I'm afraid the water in the Bahamas will be too cold to swim. What do you both think? Thanks. By the way, when you talk about the Bahamas on the Disney Destiny, we're talking about Castaway Key mostly, but also Nassau. I think you can. Here's the thing. You can still swim in Castaway Key year round, but it's also kind of a tolerance. If you're like a Southern Floridian, it might be chilly in December and January, but I'd say the water temperature is probably going to be like 70.
That is the average temperature for the Bahamas.
God, I should be Jim Cantori, man. Look at me. That's off the top of my head.
Mid to upper 70s is the average temperature there. Maybe you should be a travel agent because you seem to know a lot about this stuff.
Mike Seidel. I'm not saying the meteorologists are my heroes, but there's two of them right there.
Right. And I agree with Mike. It really is perspective. We hear from, like, I see the Floridians, it dips down into the 60s. There are winter coats out.
Yep.
There are layers beyond layers. There are hats. There are gloves. There are everything. And then those of us who are from the north and maybe not quite as as impacted by the cold as that are like, this is beautiful. There are shorts out. There are everything. So you get kind of everything. But yeah, it's like that. But I will say the one great thing about Castaway Key is I think you can have a fantastic time even if you don't go in the water. I don't know. Is this just me? I mean, you're always going to dip your toes in the water. And I am the snorkel queen. So I typically end up going snorkeling. But yeah.
Yeah. The thing is too, with a place like Castaway Key, even in December or January, your body gets used to the water. Like, it's going to be a little bit cold when you first get in, but if you get in and stay in, you adjust to it. I think the worst thing you could do is like walk in. It's like a little kid, right? You like walk, woohoo, it's too cold. And then turn around and get out. You got to let your body adjust and just suck it up, buttercup, for like 2 minutes and kind of just like and ease your way in. The ocean is God's zero entry pool. You know what I'm saying? Like it's zero entry, right? You go in, you go into your ankles, you go into your knees, you go into your, your thighs, you go into your, your hips, and then all of a sudden you're in, and then boom, and just kind of take it in and just let yourself. You're not going to freeze. It's never going to be cold enough that you're going to be like shivering and get hypothermia. You're going to be fine.
Right. It's true.
Because I mean, we go in July. Like we always sail in. It's like a bathtub. It's hot.
And it's hot everywhere. It's hot. The whole thing is hot.
It's warm, man. It is. It's like a bathtub. It's warm.
It is.
Let's see here. Random question here from Jen says, how's the Hoop-Dee-Doo review changed over time? She loved the water park answer. The funny thing is about Hoop-Dee-Doo, it hasn't changed much. That's one of those things that is very nostalgic. Opened in 71 with Walt Disney World. And I mean, obviously the cast has changed, but the show hasn't changed a whole lot, I don't think, over the years.
No, and probably like the food has changed a little bit at different times, right? But guess what? They still serve fried chicken.
Heck yeah.
And ribs.
Boom.
And strawberry shortcake. Although it's not strawberry shortcake, let's be honest. It is like a pound cake, and that is not a shortcake.
It's fine.
But I know. I'm saying, I just want people to know, because like if you're hoping for a shortcake, like a sweet biscuit type shortcake, that's not what's happening. But it's like a pound cake. But at some point, those terms became interchangeable, right? And here's something that maybe not everyone knows. There's all you can drink beer in sangria, I believe.
There is
one other drink, possibly. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, for some people. I don't drink beer or sangria, really, so I just go with Coke. But, some people like that.
Some people do. I think many people do.
I think they do. It makes the show even more pleasurable, I think.
I think, yes, you're very entertained. The show becomes more and more entertaining.
Yes, more twangy
as it goes on. But yes. But yeah, lots of good stuff there. Draft beer, wine, and sangria. So wine is the other drink. So you get wine, sangria, beer.
Is it Pinot Grigio?
I don't know.
I don't drink wine either. I mean, I'll drink a Riesling every once in a while, like on New Year's Eve when the family busts it out. I'm just not. I don't think I'm smart enough to drink wine, because people ask and I don't know the answers ever. Like red, white, I don't know. Riesling's always my answer. Do you have Riesling? I don't know. That's one I know.
Just drink whatever you like. I think that's the thing. I always tell people that whatever you like.
I don't know what I like. It's a problem. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Because I don't drink it. That's if you don't know, you don't know. Like I didn't have my first drink till I met Pam, so I just drank because I had to drink because she drank, so I wanted to drink. Anyway, this sounds like I'm going down the wrong road. Anyway, by the way, when you book with the Magic for Less, you get these tips in your email. And one of our great agents over at the Magic for Less is joining us here in the chat, Kelsey, and she says, "Don't forget your sun shirts at Castaway Key." And I gotta tell you this. I've become a convert to these sun shirts because I used to always lather up on the sunscreen and all that stuff. Nope. I bought one of those sun shirts on one of the cruise ships a few years ago because they're kind of cool looking. They're like Spirit jerseys kind of, but they're just like sun shirts. You don't have to worry about it then. You don't have to worry about lathering up with all the sunscreen. You just throw that shirt on. They kind of repel the water. They repel the sun. You go out in the water. They're great. Oh, man, that's one of the best things I ever bought. I use those things all the time. Yeah.
I definitely agree. I love them too. I had noticed that every time I use sunscreen, like whenever at the end of the day, I would be like so itchy. And then at one point, probably after 8 million times, I'm like, oh my gosh, I bet that's the sunscreen, you dumb. And so I'm like, I'm going to try out one of these shirts. And since I've had it, not itchy anymore.
Oh, right. They're great. And you can buy them actually. If you forget it, just buy them right on the ship. They're in that little, What's It's and Who's It's or whatever there on deck 11, that little mini store right there, kind of by the pools.
Who's It's and What's It's
galore. And then Rhonda Lee, who's tuned in up there in Nova Scotia, one of our great friends who always joins us on Facebook, because my favorite was on Grand Cayman Snorkeling Adventure. The guide apologized. The water was only 80 degrees.
Yes,
dude, it doesn't get that warm in Nova Scotia in the summer, she says.
I know, Rhonda. Does your water ever reach 80 degrees, Rhonda Lee? I mean, it's like.
She said, "It's okay. You're fine. It's good. We're good. 80. I can deal with 80."
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to the inbox. Question here about let's try that again. Tiana's Bayou Adventure from Holly says, "I had a question about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Now pay attention because this one." I read this one. This came in a couple days ago, and it's confusing. So I saved it for the show. I am planning to try to get a lightning lane for this ride, but my question comes in with rider switch. My oldest daughter is finally tall enough to ride, but my youngest is not. I understand how both rider switch and lightning lanes work in general separately, but is it possible to combine these services? Like, can I get a lightning lane for myself and my daughter for Tiana, but not for my husband? and then do a rider switch so that my husband can ride with her after we're done. But then if I do that, does that mess up other Lightning Lane reservations? Like, he will basically have a Lightning Lane for one additional ride that myself and my daughter will not have a Lightning Lane for. Does that make sense? Thanks, Holly.
Yeah, it does make sense. And here's the easy way to remember it. Everyone who's going to ride is going to need to have a Lightning Lane. And that's what you'll want to do. So when you go up, just let the cast member know what you're doing. But yeah, he will have to have a Lightning Lane too if he is going to be riding with your daughter again.
That's what I thought. All right. So this one isn't a question, but this is one of my guests that I book a lot of trips for. Linda and Elizabeth. It's a mother and a daughter team that go down a lot, and just sweet as pie. I had to share this because she sent me this picture, and I can't share the picture. Obviously, we're an audio podcast, but she sent me kind of the story behind the picture, and I still can't believe this happened. So I'm going to read what she wrote me here for just a second, because cast members are the heartbeat of Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line. And she said, let me just read this here because I want to have this conversation, because you and I talk about this. We've been talking about this for over 16 years here on the show. And this is just another example of why we do what we do, but more importantly, why we go to these places that we do, and all of our listeners do. She says, my favorite memory happened at Hollywood Studios on this trip. Elizabeth and I were on Hollywood Boulevard having our photo taken by one of the photographers. As we finished, the photographer said that we should hurry up closer to the Chinese theater because someone was taking a family photo. As we walked over there, a cast member shouted for us to join the larger group of people for a photo. He kept inviting lots of people to join the group. Finally, he used a guest's phone to take a photo of the entire group of people. Then, when we had a lot of others from the group, asked the person whose phone took the photo for a copy. So Elizabeth was the photo, had the photo on her phone now. The cast member who organized this was very enthusiastic and excited. I guess he does this sort of thing regularly. We got a photo with him too. A little while later, Elizabeth and I saw the cast member, whose name is Jeff from Clearmont, Florida, sweeping the area, and I went up to him and thanked him for bringing so much joy to the park. I thought he was the same cast member who used to do crowd activities before the nightly Star Wars fireworks show, and he confirmed that he was. Elizabeth noticed that Jeff wears a blue name tag that signifies that he has received special recognition for his actions and has been designated as a legacy cast member. I will attach the two photos to this email. And she sent the email, and I am not kidding. This picture has, it's in front of the Chinese theater at the studios, right? In that big open area where kind of they put the stage sometimes for special events. And there has got to be over 100 people in this picture of just random guests. There's a couple of like random PhotoPass photographers in there. There's like a person, like a cast member that sells popcorn in there, but there's kids, there's grandparents, there's people with lightsabers. He must have got everybody that was walking by for 10 minutes, like all in a picture together. And there's some people that are just standing there with their hands crossed, people like, but everybody is just like, what's happening? But everybody's smiling and they're all a part of this picture. And it's like the coolest thing ever. There's cast members in there. It's just a snapshot. It's a moment in time of like everybody came together at the studios. I love this. But one cast member initiated this and everybody took the chance to all get to, there might be 150 people in this picture. There are a ton of people. Like some people are holding like little mini dolls. But everybody's smiling, like just strangers coming together, people giving peace signs. These are the moments you don't go to Walt Disney World for this. Like this is not something you signed up for. But when Linda got back with Elizabeth, she took the time to write this. She took the time to send this picture to me. And I bet you she's told people about this back home where she's from. Isn't this cool to be able to be a kind of a part? And I bet you a lot of these people went back to their places in Kentucky and in Minnesota or Oregon or England, wherever they're from. Cause this is just like, I got to be a part of like this. It's almost like a flash mob of a photograph.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think this is the stuff that you just don't expect, but Disney can do, but it's because one cast member made it happen on one particular day. It's so cool. I love this.
I agree too. I think it's the best. It's like, it doesn't cost anyone any money.
No.
It takes a very little amount of time. And you just get the feeling that you're part of something larger than what you came to the world to do. And maybe you're just a little bit closer to what was envisioned when this whole idea of a theme park vacation was envisioned, right? That you're just going to be bringing people together in a place where they can have fun. And isn't that a cool thing to be a part of?
It is. I mean, it's just, I think we heard if you listen to social media, sometimes it's so negative, right? And you think these things don't happen anymore, but they do. And they probably happen today. It's just, I don't know. It's so easy to see the negative and not hear the positive. And maybe we don't share the positive as much, but this just happened a couple weeks ago and it probably happened today. And I just like to, I like that our show gets to get these kind of stories out there. It's 150 random strangers from all over the globe. Everybody's a Disney fan, and it's all ages, all ethnicities, and I guarantee you in this picture, there's all kinds of different political, views. It didn't matter. Everybody was there to have a good day at Hollywood Studios, and everybody was together. God, it's like, to me, for one instant, everybody got to be together. Couldn't the world be like this for just a moment? It just makes me happy. I don't know. That's just me.
Agreed.
Next question before we get too deep. It's a DLR trip planning question. Hey, Mike and BOGP crew from, it looks like Sarah. Hey, Mike and BOGP crew, my husband, 6-year-old, and I just returned from an August trip to Walt Disney World. We managed the heat better than expected, but I'm still considering Disneyland Resort for our August trip next year. Lots of time to fill between camp and school, which starts around Labor Day here in the New York City suburbs. We are DVC members and stay in one bedrooms, preferably Boulder Ridge at Wilderness Lodge, the best resort on property. My son has multiple food allergies as well as pickiness related to neurodivergence, so having the kitchen is very helpful. We can't do studios because they have those silly beverage coolers rather than actual fridges, and we need freezer space. We would book our DLR stay with cash rather than DVC points since we don't have the 11-month advantage. Are there any room types on property that would have a microwave and a fridge? Even a mini dorm room style fridge is fine as long as it has a little bit of freezer space for gluten-free nuggets and waffles. A pool with a slide is also an important consideration. I'm also wondering if there is any benefit at Disneyland Resort for Walt Disney World annual pass holders. Our pass expires in December, and so far we have only one 6-day trip planned for Walt Disney World in February of 2025. If there is no benefit, we'll probably buy a new pass, if they're available, for trips for school breaks during April 2026 and February 2027, as it would definitely be worth the 2 trips. Thanks so much for your input, Sarah. So what you think, Pam?
Well, so the good news is at the Disneyland has now opened, of course, villa style accommodations. So in a 1-bedroom or larger, you're going to be able to have that freezer space in the refrigerator. I'm not sure that the studios have that freezer space, but they might.
Because they have that new designation. Those are called Duo Studios. What's that designation mean it's called Duo? Does that
just
mean
for
anything?
2 people. It's like the Tower Studios available, like at
that makes sense.
the
Duo
Revue
too.
area.
Okay.
Yeah.
But does that mean anything as far as like fridges and stuff like? I mean, like for does that give you any differences for like the setups for the like the cooler over the fridge?
No. And what's so weird is I understand why Disney calls them that. It is We have had those coolers. They're supposed to be just coolers. Freeze like water bottles.
I have two.
Oh, yeah.
I've had them explode my sodas. Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, they're basically like what I have here in the studio right here.
Yes.
It's like one of those, but I've had them also explode sodas many times.
Yeah, agree. Because they oftentimes get very cold.
They do.
So,
yep.
But doesn't have a designated freezer section. So that is good to know. The good news is too, also out there, if you are looking for some gluten-free options, they're going to have that available at many of the restaurants, including nuggets, including waffles. So you can always ask about that as well. So basically what you're going to be looking at on property is going to be one of the villa accommodations. Now there's also villas over at the Grand Californian, but as you all know, it is very challenging to get those accommodations, even if you're paying cash. So that's something to think of as well. There are certain suites available. Some will have a full-size refrigerator, but they can be extremely pricey. And it's also really challenging to get input on what kind of accommodation, what the refrigerator specifically is like in that room. And then if something in particular doesn't go as planned, then it's not there. That can be a challenge. The other option is that there are some off-site but good neighbor hotels that will have a full refrigerator and microwave available, and that might be something that you want to consider. Disneyland is sort of a different animal in that there are some really close good neighbor accommodations, so you might want to think about that too.
So if you're going to give them a suggestion of one or two places to look at off-site that are walkable and close that would have a kitchen, where have you stayed, or where would you recommend? I know you typically stay on site, but
I do. Yeah, I do. There is I believe it's a Hyatt House or a Home 2 Suites that actually has a larger, like a kitchenette area that I think is a really good option for people who are looking for that. I'm going to look it up while we're talking. But we had toured it just the last time we were out there, and I was really impressed with that accommodations. But, there'll be lots of different ones that will say, like, we can sort by, for instance, a full kitchen. Yep. And I think that that's something that's really important, what you're looking for, and then we'll be able to help you find that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, like, I was super nervous last year at the Disneyland half marathon weekend staying off site, right? Because I'd stayed at Disneyland Hotel the other two times. I'd say, don't worry, Disneyland Hotel is my jam. That's where I always want to stay. I love the Disneyland Hotel so much, but I just can't stay there without my family. Like, I just can't. It feels bad to spend that kind of money when I'm there for races. When I'm there for the races, I'm either running or I'm in the parks the entire time. I am not at the hotel at all. So staying at a good neighbor just makes financial sense, especially around the holidays. And plus I'm doing Dopey right before that. Like a month before that, I'm going to Walt Disney World and spend all that money on the races, 2 sets of flights. It's really tight. Let's be real. There's a lot going on at the end of the year. So I do stay good neighbor to save some money. So last year I stayed at Grand Legacy, which was an old Ramada, but the location was awesome, man. It was right across the street. Worked out fine. It was a hotel room. And I found out, you're right, like staying at a good neighbor, if you're like going solo, it worked out great. And this time I'm staying at the Howard Johnson, because you know me, like I'm all about retro stuff. And I just remember going to like the Howard Johnson restaurant with my grandparents when I was a kid up at the corner of 270 in Lindbergh, right off the highway. And like, those are the days. I know there's not a Howard Johnson restaurant there, but just the fact that I'm staying at a Hojo, like, has me all excited. Like, I'm just like, dude, I keep telling my wife, I get to stay at a Hojo. Like, I know it's like a water park and there's going to be all kinds of kids. I don't care. I get to stay at a Howard Johnson across the street from Disneyland. Like, how retro is that?
Very.
I mean, it's an opportunity. Yeah, everything is an opportunity to try something new. And I get to do that in January. So I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did look up the one that we toured, and it was a Hyatt House. So that did have accommodations that had a full kitchen there. So
just make sure you select the Hyatt House, not the halfway house. Just saying.
Not that. Yes, well, there will be a difference.
It's a big one. You'll be doing the dishes there, and you might be doing 7 to 10.
That's right.
All right. How about one last question, and we will get you on your way here on a Wednesday. And it is from Robin. Hey, BOGP crew. It says trip planning question. Cheer at Walt Disney World. Oh, cheer, Dad. First, I would like to thank you for this amazing podcast. You guys bring the magic when I'm not on Disney property, and I'm so grateful. I love the dynamic of the crew. Thank you again, Mike, for taking the time to talk about my wedding at the Magic Kingdom back in January. You were so easy to talk to. Well, thank you for sharing the show with us. We appreciate that, and thanks for the kind words. We love that. We just love doing the show. Honestly, this is my favorite time of the week. Question: we're planning to stay at Walt Disney World the first weekend next May. Can you say summit? Someone mentioned there are cheer competitions that weekend. This is exciting as I'm a former cheerleader, but I am a little worried about the crowds. Since I'm on maternity leave from teaching, I'm trying to travel off-peak, and this seemed like the best weekend for us. We're staying at the Polynesian. Will the resort and parks be crowded? Thank you so much for all you do. Sending love from Queens, New York. Warmest wishes, Robin. Robin is so nice. I think she wins. I'm giving her listener of the day. We just made that up. She's listener of the week. I'm giving her the whole week. Why not? Boom. There you go. No, that's awesome. And former cheerleader, that's great. Here's good news. I got all kinds of good news for you.
Yes.
Okay, there's going to be a lot of bows there, for one thing, because it is Summit.
Yes.
So
hairspray, a lot of hairspray.
Oh, yeah. Dude, the ozone doesn't have a chance. In Central Florida, dead. Well, I think they took all that stuff out, though, right? Now it's environmentally friendly.
So. I don't know. I was just telling Hannah this used to be a concern.
They did.
Like when we were in school, we were told that we were killing the ozone layer.
I'm telling you, dude, I've seen pictures of my wife from high school. The higher the hair, the closer to God, they said.
Yeah, mine was really, really, really curly. Yes,
oh my God, it was wild. Class of 91 for my wife, class of 92 for myself. Anyway, here's the thing. There will be bows everywhere, but the good news is they're going to be over at Wide World of Sports. Here's the good news too. You're staying at the Polynesian. Cheer parents spend all their money on comp fees and uniforms.
And bows.
And everything else that goes in backpacks that come from these companies. It's ridiculous. That's $150 backpack. Why does it have to cost $150? Because it's got their names monogrammed on them. So for that fact, they're either staying at a Disney Springs hotel, like I had to do at the B, in the Hyatt, in the Hilton. I've stayed at every Disney Springs hotel with their teams. Or if you're lucky, you stay at All-Star Music, Sports, or Movies, or maybe Pop, or they're going to be at the Moderates or the Values or Disney Springs hotels. They're not going to be at the Poly. Nope. They're not going to be at your hotel for the most part. So you're safe over at the Polynesian from the bows for the most part. You will see them trinkle into the parks occasionally, but they're not going to disrupt you. They're down there on a business trip. They're going to be over at ESPN. They might be there after they get eliminated, but for the most part, they're not in the parks very much. They're just there to cheer over at Wide World of Sports. And it's exciting to see them kind of around the resort. It's kind of cool, especially if you're a former cheerleader. You'll like that. But they do not really at all disrupt the park flow. You just, now, if you have a room at All-Star Music that week, or especially, if you have a room at All-Star Sports, especially, good luck, bro. They're everywhere. I'm sorry. I mean, because they have booked out the hotel. And if you randomly have a room there, that's wild. I'm just saying, it is. I hope you like cheer. Hope you like to hit zero, because you're going to be hitting zero right with them.
I think the things that are impacted the most, even at the resort, are the food courts at different times. Like when they travel en masse to get breakfast in the morning in particular.
And when they do what are called full outs out on the, especially at sports, they do what are called full outs on those football fields. And because they do them for TikTok, right? They all go out on the football fields and they'll do their practice routines, which are called full outs on that football field at sports. And the good teams will actually put them out on social media. Like, we're going to do it at 4:17 p.m. Tune in live. And they'll have thousands of viewers, like Senior Elite and Top Gun. It's wild. It is unreal. I'm just telling you, it's a thing. Because Senior Elite and Top Gun are my two favorite teams I watch, because they're that good.
Wow.
Oh yeah, dude, it's wild. Anyway, it's fun. I like it. I mean, because these cheerleaders, you don't understand if you don't watch cheerleading. These because they're boys and girls and young ladies and young men. They're athletes. They do things that sometimes the football players couldn't imagine doing. They're athletes. So I'm just saying. All right, so we are going to get out of here. You have a question for a future show, Mike at beourguestpodcast.com. Drop that in my email. We'll get it right away on the show. And you can tune in. Usually we're on the air around 5:30 Eastern. We went a little bit early the last couple of weeks, but typically that's our time. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch is where we broadcast live. So come on and join us live. We love it when you tune in live. Best way, though, subscribe on one of those places. And when we go live, boom, you get a notification. Hey, we're live. Then you can just join us as we go early or late or whenever. So let's see. We have a sponsor that we'd love you to support. That's the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Disney adventure. Speaking of adventure, hey, meet your destiny with Disney Cruise Line. See what I did there? Not that I've been doing that.
I see it.
Dude, I've met my
destiny.
I've met my destiny all day because I've been helping guests book their destiny on the Disney Destiny all day here in the office because folks are going to be sailing this wonderful Disney Cruise Line ship here at the end of 2025, moving into 2026. And they're booking staterooms. One of the agents I was working with, they're getting one of the Hercules staterooms. I was like, really? Really? I didn't even realize that was a Hercules stateroom, but that's pretty sweet. That's awesome. So, yeah, I mean, this is a great ship. Come on over. Have a great time. Onboard credits. That's one of the great things, too. It's the same cost booking directly with Disney Cruise Line, but you get a little money in your account. You should get on that ship. You know, spa appointment. Hey, that's great. Merchandise down in the shops. That's wonderful. Tequila tasting. Never anything wrong with that. Palo. I mean, hey, adult dining, that's great too. However you want to spend it, just don't spend it on gratuities. And if you do, just don't tell me. But all the details right now over at themagicforless.com. We'd love to help you out with that. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. We'd love that support over there. And our Patreon. We'd love you to support us on Patreon as well. Just $5 a month is all it takes. It's like a cup of coffee, and you get a bonus show every week for that support. It's called Mike in the Midwest. So coming over this week, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Our show this past week, we talked about Ben Herbstreit. Pam, do you know who Ben Herbstreit is?
I do not.
See, Mike in the Midwest. He's a dog. He's a famous dog. And we also talked about Riley Como, which is my dog. So coming over to patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give Pam a follow on social media at TMFLTPam. I'm Be Our Guest Mike on the social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. And of course, we'll have the live show this Sunday night. Scott joins me. We take your calls. We have a good time, except when the cord was loose, like for the first 20 minutes of the show this past Sunday night. But we figured it out.
Oh, no.
I know, but we jiggled the cord and it started working and we got it going. So, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Central. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. So call us Sunday night. All right, we'll be back again on Friday. And on Friday, Pam and I are coming back and we're talking all about our resort room setup. When we get into the room, how do we set up our tech? How do we set up all of our clothes and everything so that we have an efficient room throughout our stay? What tech gadgets do we bring? Pam said she got some new packing cubes. And I've seen these things also on Instagram. And you know me, I buy 90% of everything I own on Instagram. So this is going to have to happen here soon, probably for me too. So come on back. We're going to talk about setting up your hotel room so that you have a great trip while you're there. So we'll see you again on Friday. So for Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Whatever you do, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.